Billie Jean King won 12 Grand Slam titles in singles, 27 more in doubles, but her influence has extended well beyond her playing days and the tennis court. Her pioneering work for equality and social justice changed the landscape for professional and amateur athletes.
Jeanette King is the co-author of a new autobiography of King. The book is a New York Times bestseller called All In. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Good to have you with us. Billie Jean King played with a secret for a long time. What kind of impact did that have on her?
Well, I think that her sexuality had been something that, from her college days had affected her. And at the time she was coming through college in the 60s, late 60s, and then into her pro career, it was just something that you weren't allowed to talk about. And she was outed in 1981 by Marilyn Barnett, a person she had not been involved with for several years by then. And I think it just drove her deeper into the closet. People told her that everything she had worked for would be destroyed, and she lost all of her endorsements overnight. She was 37 and had to keep playing a few more years after 6 knee surgeries. So there was quite a fallout, and her fears were realized.
And let's talk about, for the people who are of a younger generation, they know the name, but they really don't understand the impact she had between the battle of the sexes, setting up the Pro Virginia Slims Tour for women. Put it in perspective for people who don't know what she did.
Sure. She was born in 1943, and she came along at the height of the civil rights movement, the start of feminism, and a lot of things in America were being re-argued, and there was a real pressure on women to sort of sacrifice their ambitions and dreams. There were no college scholarships for women. There was nothing but the LPGA, and that was still trying to gain traction in purses. And so Billie led a breakaway movement to start the first women's tour. She fought for equal prize money, and what started as a sort of activism in sports expanded over time into other issues. She fought for Title IX, which was the landmark legislation that has helped women gain an equal footing, not just in sports, but in admissions to law schools and medical schools, which were just at the time minuscule. And so 1973, she played Bobby Riggs in the Battle of the Sexes, and she, to this day, says that she still gets stopped every day by people who either remember it, thank her for changing their lives, or just making a difference in what they believe was possible. They went to work and asked for raises. It was watched by 90 million people worldwide, an extraordinary event that historians have called a cultural pivot point.
Yeah.
But since then, she's going to be 78 in November, and she's never left the public arena. She's fought for legislation. She was just in Chicago last week. She's one of the founders and a strategic advisor to the first women's bank. She has come out as a forceful LGBTQ rights advocate, despite her early, internal distress about it. And so she's done an extraordinary amount of things, and the sweep of her life I think qualifies her to talk about stuff that's being re-argued today. A lot of the things that she and others fought for in her youth are all being sort of re-examined today, and in some cases rolled back. So I think she has a lot to say to contemporary readers about leadership and social change and inclusiveness, diversity.
What role did her husband play?
Larry was, at the start, one of the sort of driving influences in a lot of what they did. He was an attorney. They met when he was 17 and she was 18, and they got married a couple years later. So they were very young when they got married and still in school. He went on to law school at Cal Berkeley, and together, up until their marriage started to sort of dissolve, when Billie started to realize her sexuality, they did a lot of these things hand in hand. I mean, from starting World Team Tennis, he was there the night they voted to start the women's tour. He had a lot of the strategizing and sort of legal expertise to codify the stuff that they were able to get done.
Well, Jeanette Howard, it's a pleasure to talk to you. The book is All In, and you can find both Jeanette and, of course, Billie Jean King on Twitter. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
Oh, my pleasure.